There is a moment in life when you start to question everything you were told about success, about money, about what really means to be free. Because somewhere along the way, we were taught a story that says work harder, earn more, spend wisely, and maybe, just maybe, you'll be okay. But deep down, you feel it, that something doesn't add up, that no matter how hard people work, they're still trapped, still stressed, still waiting for a future that never quite arrives. And so the question begins, what if there's another way? Look around. Financial news, investment advice, endless strategies. Everyone has an opinion. Everyone has a system. And somehow, they all seem complicated. You're told to diversify, but not too much. Take risks, but not the wrong ones. Trust experts, but only the right experts. Slowly, without realizing it, you begin to feel something dangerous. Not curiosity, not excitement, but confusion. And confusion is powerful, because when you're confused, you don't act, or worse, you give control to someone else. But what if we stripped it all away? All the noise, all the complexity, all the fear. What remains is simple. You earn money, you keep a portion, you invest it, and you let time do the work. That's it. No secret formulas, no hidden tricks, just a system that works because it's based on reality. Debt doesn't knock loudly, it whispers. It tells you, this is fine, you deserve this, you'll handle it later. And so you say yes to the credit card, to the loan, to the lifestyle. At first, nothing changes, but then something subtle happens. Your future starts shrinking, because every dollar you owe is a dollar you haven't earned yet, already spoken for, already gone. Freedom begins with a decision, a clear, honest decision. No more debt, not less, not manageable, none. You cut expenses, you prioritize repayment, you face the discomfort, because on the other side is something powerful, control. Most people see saving as restriction, as limitation, as something you do when you have extra. But that's not what it is. Saving is how you take control of your life. Every dollar you save is a vote for your future, a step away from dependence, a step toward freedom. Money is not just numbers, it's emotion, fear, security, desire, control. And if you don't understand your relationship with money, it will control you. But when you shift your perspective, everything changes. You stop spending to impress. You start saving to escape. There's a moment when your savings begin to grow. Not dramatically, not overnight, but steadily. And something inside you changes. You feel safer, stronger, more in control. And for the first time, you realize freedom isn't far away. There comes a moment when saving is no longer enough. You've done the hard part. You've resisted the noise. You've reduced your expenses. You've started building something. But now, a new question appears, a bigger one. How do you make your money work for you? Because saving alone will not set you free. Imagine this. You work hard. You save money. You build a pile of cash. And then you stop. What happens next? Your money just sits there, still, silent, not growing. Meanwhile, life becomes more expensive.
Inflation slowly eats away at what you've built, without making a sound, without asking permission. And over time, your safe money becomes less powerful. Inflation is invisible. You don't see it happening, but you feel it. The same money buys less year after year, quietly, relentlessly. It's like standing still on a moving walkway, going backward. If you don't move forward, you fall behind. So what's the solution? It's simple. You invest, but not in the way most people think. Not chasing trends, not gambling on stocks, not trying to be smarter than everyone else. You invest in everything. Instead of picking winners, you own the entire game through something called an index fund. An index fund is simple. It tracks the market, all the companies, all the growth, all the movement. When the world grows, you grow. Here's the truth most people don't realize. Even professionals struggle to beat the market year after year. They have teams, tools, data, and still they lose. Why? Because the market is unpredictable, complex, constantly changing. So instead of fighting it, you join it. The simpler your strategy, the stronger it becomes. No constant decisions, no emotional reactions, no endless analysis. Just one clear path. Buy, hold, wait. That's it. J.L. Collins recommends one powerful tool, VTSAX, a total stock market index fund. It gives you diversification, low fees, long-term growth. You're not betting on one company. You're investing in the entire economy. There's something magical about time, not in days, not in weeks, but in years, decades. Your money begins to grow. Then it grows on that growth, and then again and again. This is compound interest, and it changes everything. Think of your investments like planting a tree. At first, nothing happens. Weeks go by, months go by, still nothing. But underground, roots are forming, growing, strengthening. And one day, it breaks through. And over time, it becomes something powerful. This is where most people fail, not because they don't know what to do, but because they can't stay still. They see the market drop, and they panic. They see others getting rich quickly, and they chase. They abandon the plan. Real investing is often boring. No excitement, no constant action, and that's exactly why it works. Because you don't interfere. You don't react. You don't let emotions decide. At some point, the market will crash. It always does. And in that moment, everything will feel wrong. Fear will spread. People will sell. But this is the test. You don't sell. You don't panic. You don't change the plan. Because history shows the market recovers every time. This is not a short game, not months, not even years. This is a lifetime. And if you stay consistent, you win. Now you understand. Saving builds the foundation, but investing creates the future. Your money is no longer still. It's moving, growing, working for you. And this is where the real transformation begins.
Money is not just math. It's not just numbers on a screen or balances in an account. Money is emotion, fear, greed, hope, impatience. And this is where most people lose, not in the strategy, but in the mind.
You might think that building wealth requires intelligence, that the smartest people win, that success belongs to those who understand the most. But the truth is, some of the smartest people make the worst financial decisions. You can know everything. You can read every book, understand every concept, and still fail. Because knowledge without discipline is powerless. It's not what you know, it's what you do, consistently. There's a pattern, a cycle almost everyone goes through. The market rises and people feel confident, excited, invincible. Then the market falls and everything changes. Fear replaces confidence. Doubt replaces certainty. So people try to control it. They try to time it. Buy low, sell high. It sounds logical. It feels smart. But in reality, it rarely works. Because timing requires two perfect decisions, when to get out and when to get back in. Miss one, and the entire strategy fails. Miss both, and the damage compounds. Even professionals get this wrong. Fear doesn't shout, it whispers. What if this time is different? What if everything collapses? What if I lose everything? And in that moment, people act. They sell. They run. And then there's greed, the quiet voice that says, just a little more. You're missing out. Everyone else is winning. So people chase. They take risks. They abandon discipline. Between fear and greed, there is a narrow path, a path of discipline, of patience, of clarity. Most people never find it because it requires something rare, control. Real wealth isn't built in the market. It's built in your behavior, your ability to stay calm when everything feels uncertain, your ability to stay consistent when others panic. You create rules, simple rules, clear rules, and you follow them, no matter what. No exceptions, no emotional decisions. The system works, not because it's perfect, but because it's consistent. The market grows, over time, through crashes, through chaos, through uncertainty. Think of the market like the ocean. It rises, it falls, it moves unpredictably. But you cannot control it, but you can learn to ride it. Patience is not passive, it's active. It's the decision to stay the course, to trust the process, to wait, even when it's uncomfortable. This is not about quick wins, not about shortcuts. This is about building something that lasts, something stable, something real. In the end, very few people succeed, not because it's difficult, but because it's simple. And simplicity requires discipline. You now understand something powerful. Wealth is not a battle against the market. It's a battle against yourself, your fears, your impulses, your doubts. And if you can master that, everything else becomes simple. What if you didn't have to work? Not because you're tired, not because you failed, but because you no longer needed to. Silence for a beat. No alarms, no deadlines, no obligations. Just time. Your time. Soft emphasis. This is the idea that changes everything. Financial independence. Most people think wealth is about money, big houses, luxury cars, expensive lifestyles. But real wealth is something far simpler. It's the ability to live life on your own terms. Soft emphasis. Wealth is freedom. Every day, you make a trade. Your time for money, hours for income, days for survival, years for stability. Slow emphasis. But what if you could stop trading? Financial independence is the moment when your investments generate enough income to cover your life. At that point, you are no longer dependent on a paycheck. Soft tone. You are free. The question becomes simple. How much do you need? Not for luxury, not for excess, but for your life, your real life. Soft emphasis. Your expenses define your freedom. There's a simple concept, a guideline. If you can live on about 4% of your investments each year, your money can last indefinitely. Soft emphasis. This means if you spend $40,000 a year, you need about $1 million invested. This isn't exact, it's not perfect, but it works because it's simple. And simplicity is sustainable. Every dollar you invest moves you closer. Every expense you reduce brings the goal nearer. Soft emphasis. This is where saving and investing meet. There's a choice most people don't realize they're making. Spend more and delay freedom. Spend less and accelerate it. Soft emphasis. Every decision has a cost, not just in money, but in time. What does your ideal life look like? Not the version sold to you, but the one you actually want. Where do you live? How do you spend your time? What matters to you? Soft emphasis. This is what you're building toward. When you reach independence, something shifts. You don't have to work, but you might choose to. Soft tone. And that changes everything. You can walk away. You can stay. You can change direction. Because now you are in control. Ironically, some people struggle here. They've spent so long chasing security that they don't know how to live without fear. Soft emphasis. Freedom requires trust. Freedom is not just financial, it's mental. It's the ability to wake up without pressure, without urgency, without fear. You start to see life differently. Time becomes more valuable than money. Experiences become more important than possessions. You stop chasing and start living. In the end, this was never about becoming rich. It was about becoming free. You now see the path clearly. Not just how to build wealth, but why. Because at the end of the journey, money is not the reward. Freedom is.
At this point, you understand the system. You see the path. You know what to do. But now comes the hardest part. Not starting, not learning, but continuing. Because the truth is, this journey is not exciting. It's not fast. It's not dramatic. There are no daily rewards, no constant validation, just quiet progress. Save, invest, wait. Again, save, invest, wait. Over and over again, for years. Not because it doesn't work, but because it feels too simple, too slow, too ordinary. People crave excitement. They want shortcuts. They want faster results. And that's exactly why they fail. Along the way, you will be tempted. New strategies, new trends, better opportunities. Voices telling you you're missing out. But remember this, distraction is expensive. Your strength is not in changing strategies, it's in sticking to one, even when it's boring, even when it's slow, even when others doubt it. There will be moments when everything feels uncertain, the market drops, the news is negative, fear spreads. This is where your mindset is tested. You don't react, you don't panic, you don't abandon the plan.
because you already decided what to do. Most of your progress will be invisible. It happens slowly, quietly, in the background. But it's real. And then something changes. Your investments begin to grow faster, not because you did more, but because time did more. You're not just building wealth, you're building stability, security, freedom, something that can support you for life. At some point, your focus shifts. It's no longer just about you, it's about those around you, your family, your future. What you build can last beyond you, not just money, but mindset, discipline, clarity. Wealth can change you if you let it. But the real goal is not to become different, it's to become free. You don't need more complexity, more risk, more stress. You need simplicity, clarity, consistency. In the end, there is no secret, no hidden formula, no shortcut, just a simple path followed consistently. One day, you will look back and realize it wasn't the big decisions that changed your life. It was the small ones, repeated, again and again. The choice to save when it was easier to spend. The choice to invest when it felt uncertain. The choice to stay when others left. And in those quiet decisions, you built something extraordinary. Not just wealth, not just security, but freedom. And the most powerful part? It was simple all along.